Exercise 38, we're going to do some 1-point tilted ellipses. Yes, so let's get a horizon line going here. So let's put it around here, seems good. Pretty arbitrary right now. Let's put our 1-point vanishing point in the center of the horizon line in your drawing, mine in the center of the camera, so to speak here. So there we go. It shows up pretty nicely. Now we're good to go. All right, so let's draw something that's a little tilted now, and so we can get that informal perspective. So let's say that we've got a side tilt here, and these tilts are going to be parallel since we're at the side. So let's just use 45s. How about that? So we can keep that nice and clean and equal for everybody. So we'll put this in partly in the sky plane and the ground plane. So there's my first 45 angle. So this is going to look a little tilted. So this this square will look something like, if I sketch it up here, will look something like that. That's what I'm going for. So you can see it right now. And of course we'll X all that out, etc., and find our true half, true perspective center, and all that good stuff. Okay, so from there, and then we'll keep it in the sky plane and ground plane. So a little sky and then a little ground, and through, maybe not quite that far over. Let me see. How about right here? A little bit of an angle. Okay, so we'll come out now. Take this from the vanishing point, or VP, 1-point VP out. A little bit. We'll draw our convergence or diminishment out some. Then from our vanishing point, out some here. Of course, that's the end of our square, right in through here. And then I'm going to say the back of the square, not too long. So at 45, so about right, maybe right there. So it'll be pretty slight. So right in through there, there's our 45 degree, and I'll end it there. Now I'll darken in my square so you can see it nice and cleanly. You can follow yours with mine. Just try to make yours look like mine as best you can. It might be a little different, and that's fine. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so now let's find our center, perspective center. Let me sharpen up a little bit. And can you find your major and minor axis? That's going to be, which one is it? Remember, the minor axis is like an axle wheel. So it'd be coming out of here, across. Okay, so we have now our centering here. Okay, here and here. Okay, there's our perspective center right in through there. So let's draw through that from the vanishing point so we can get some ideas about what we're going to do, our touching point. So out and through here, right? Okay, through there. And let's do the same at 45, coming through here. It's important because we're going to start to find our true half. So right in through there's our perspective half, right in through there. So if we measured equally from here to here, look how off that would be. So there's our perspective half right in through there. So I'll put our perspective center right in through there. Now let's find our true center. So what we want to do now is take, and we'll do it down here a little bit. So let's take that angle, 45 parallel right here. Let's bring it down a little bit, and we'll bring this one down back again in red. So we have it in through here. And so we'll put little arrows to show that. And so now what we can do, let's just draw a nice, this will be 90 degrees so we can get a measurement across here. So I'll line that up and just draw a line through. Okay. Now we need to take that measurement. Just essentially estimate its half. So I'm gonna put the half about right there. Looks pretty good. It's a little thick, pretty good. Now what truly is it? Let's measure it to see. So I had 1 inch and about, what is that? Okay, quite see that. So 1, 2, 3, a little bit over 3/8. So we're about a 1/2 inch and 1, 2, 3/16 and a little bit extra. So that was pretty good. Okay, so now we bring our 45 back up. This is our half. Let me make sure I clarify that up for you. We're gonna make it really clear. So there's half there and there's half there to find our true perspective, our true flat center. Our perspective center we drew by our crossing X. Make sure we know that. I want to make sure that's totally clear. So we need those touching points. So right there we need that touching point, right? And I'll draw it lighter, and right there we need that touching point, especially. Okay, so I'll make a big issue there. Now this is very, especially in formal perspective, when you need it, that's going to be very important to know. Let me take a swig of soda. All right, so let's get started in finding our other areas for our touching points. So now we need to come across and find our halves. So from here right to our perspective center, right through here to here, because this is going to be a big touching point right there. I'll make an issue of it already, so I'll put an arrow there so you can see that. And let me start to come in so we can see this even better. And there we go. Closer the better. Okay, that's a touching point. Right here will be a touching point, right? I'll put an arrow there. Of course, we already have touching points here, and we have touching points demarcated out. So from here to our perspective center, along the edge, right through there, that's finding half, and then we'll bring this over to here, okay, right through there, into our perspective center, right through there, over to there. Okay, so now what we want to guesstimate is this distance right down smack in the middle, like it's flat. Right there feels pretty good. Now you can do it all over, because you need to do it here, or again, if you want to draw more lines, and maybe we'll do it this time, is you need to draw from this point. Once you got a pretty good one, and I suggest doing it in the back ones because they're a little wider, then line up to the vanishing point, draw over. I'm just going to draw the dot right there, but it's a construction line, diminishment line to the vanishing point. There you see, right? And now we can go at 45 here to find the other one. I'll slide that over to find that one along there, right there. It feels pretty good. And then from that point, line up to the vanishing point and where that touches right there. That's true halves for all of those. Okay, that will help. And so it looks like another square through there. There's a lot of lines, right? So where do we want to touch? We know our four corners. Now you could use that without it, but it's nice to have those guides. So I'm going to start at our true perspective, excuse me, I don't want to confuse you, I'm going to confuse myself. Our flat perspective, our true perspective, not our perspective center. Here on the red, over, and we'll arch it. Sorry about that. I know that's complex. It gets complex for me even. So we're going to arch through here. Take it slow, come through roughly the inside of that line, and we're going to keep on coming over. If you mess it up, do it again. Right through here, touch. It's pretty good. Looks like a pretty good curve so far. Then we're going to come through, and so I'm coming through here, and I want to move to here, right? Okay. Coming through inside there. There we go. And curving in, I want to touch right. So I'm going to go on the other side over here where it's awkward for me, but oh well. I can do it. Run it through there. Touch right through there and start to curve. Just touch and then curve out. That's hard. And now we're shooting for, here's my mark. Maybe make that clear so you can see it. That's my mark there. Sometimes when you draw this dot really big, your eye it looks a little flat. See how it kind of makes it kind of a point? It's not, but it looks that way. So I have to make my marks bigger so you can see them. But it's a pretty good ellipse going. So right in through here. Okay, we'll come over. That's not a good start. I don't like that start, so I'm going to erase it. And I'll just lightly gloss with my kneaded eraser. Easy to do, so I want to make this a little bit more curved starting through here. It's all about getting them to line up, getting that visual look that you want. So I'm touching in through here. There it goes. A little bit better. Coming up and through. And I still don't like it, so I'm going to take that. So you get to see how I do this. I'm like, nope, I don't like it. Curve. I want to be more curved. See how much harder it is to draw? But it's so good. This might be my touching point for my half mark might be a little further lower than I want, so I'm going to just estimate. Yeah, I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to erase a little bit further. Okay, bring it in a little bit more, just a little bit. I'm not bringing it in way over, like a 1/4 of an inch or 1/16. We got a problem. You got a problem if that's the case. So we got to come in through here, touch right in through there. So I'm going to erase this just a little bit further where I got thicker. See how I come back and erase and I adjust just a little bit. So I'm bringing this more on the inside further. Looks better. Right through there. Now I've got to get from here all the way over. To do that, I've got to contort my body into awkward positions to do it, so to show you. So, but I can do it. Here we go. So I'm way over with my body, but that's okay. So I need to curve here and come over through here. Touch and curve. Curve. Okay. And I'm going to come over. Come on the inside of that. Looks pretty good so far. I won't know until I finish this out and I can judge it. Come over here, come, get closer, and then touch in through and come over. That looks pretty good. Not bad. This red dot tends to make this look a little bit flatter, but otherwise it's pretty good. Pretty good ellipse in through there. And I could clean up a little bit in through there, just a little bit, and this curves over. Sometimes that line gets too thick, it looks a little flat and awkward. All right, not too bad there. Now let's do some freehand. Well, hold on, let me find our minor axis too. So this is important. Okay, so let's draw that major axis stronger now. So remember, it's in red. It's in our half perspective, right in through here. Okay, in through there. So there's our major axis coming through. Now, where's our minor axis? Make sure that we have that. So there's our major. So we need it 90 degrees right in through here, right? So 90 degrees from that. So take your 45, 45, 90 and line that up right through there. And there's where we're coming through. I'll make a mark here. And then I'll line that back up right through here. And there's our minor axis. So remember, it acts like an axle of a wheel. So this is tilted over like so. Here, and here's our arrow for that. And so this is now at 90 degrees right in through there. So that's our minor axis right in through there. So major and minor axis at 90 degrees, and then we've got our ellipse coming through pretty good in through here. So let's do a couple of well, let's do another one, but we'll tilt it now the other way. I think that will be helpful too as well. So let's do one. Let's put one over here. Okay, and take a swig of my soda. Keep it real. I promise there's no alcohol in it. Okay. How do you know? You wouldn't know. All right. So let's come over and let's do one over here now a little bit. We can take it at another angle. We'll do another one at 45. I think that'll be just easy right now. I mean, they could be 30 and they could be 60, 90, but we'll just do one at 45. We'll sit it the opposite way. So we'll put it a little bit more now on the sky plane than it is the ground plane. We'll bring it over. We'll use the same vanishing point as well. So I'll bring it up. Just these angles are convenience, for convenience sake and for demonstration. So we'll end this one maybe here, and we'll end the line in the sky plane about right there. Okay, now through the vanishing point, through our VP out, we'll draw diminishment, converging lines out. Okay, and then we'll do the same here to there. Coming out, line up our points. I made the points pretty strong so you can see them coming out pretty good ways. Okay, so I'm going to end this about right Not too terribly long, but right here seems fine for now. Okay, I'm trying to make these without measuring look like perfect squares that are in perspective, and that really just is about experience. Because it looks, see how farther out it's starting to get more distorted. So maybe I should bring, let's see, maybe I should bring it in a little bit further just for a sec. Yeah, I'm going to bring it in actually. Sorry about that. Let's bring it in to about right here. I want to make sure that we don't get too distorted. So bring it in. We're going to bring it in right to there. Sorry about that. There. And that gives me that 45 degree. Gets me right to there. There we go. Just don't want it to be too distorted for now. Okay, so I'm going to clean up a little bit of this on the side so we can kind of calm that down so you can see where it needs to be. Okay, so now we need to find our center crossing X. Right. Let me go ahead and darken in all of the squares. Will take a little time. This will slow things down too. Here and here, and then of course to make that darker. Okay, it's kind of like we're doing it on the opposite side from where we started, but it's a slightly different. It's raised a little bit. This one's higher, that one's a little bit lower. So let's find our crossing X to find our perspective center, which is important because we need some touching points with that one too as well. Then we have to find our true center, which gets probably a little confusing. Hopefully we're getting that cleared up. There's our perspective center. Then we'll come through that point with the vanishing point through 1 point perspective there, all the way through here to here, right? Okay. We need those. Those are going to be touching points for us right here and right there. So I'll put an arrow. That's where we're going to touch. Okay, that's important. We'll come in a little bit and bring this maybe a little over. Yeah, there we can see that a little bit better. How about that? There we go. Okay. Make sure this is aligned nicely to the camera. There we go. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need our true perspective center. So we're going to come up through this point, our true perspective half. Okay, so we've got our perspective center through here, right? Okay, so that's PC for perspective center. Now let's find the true half, and we'll do it up here a little bit. So we'll bring it over that 45 here, up and through, so we can start to do a little measuring there, and up and through there. Okay, and now we need to come over and find that at 90 degrees over, so we'll bring this over so we can measure this. So I'll need a little bit longer line, looks like, on this side. There we go. Yep. Okay, so now we bring this over, we'll line it up so we can get a true accurate measure. So 90 degrees on that line, right in through here. Now we can measure it, so now we can eyeball it, and I think half is about right there. Notice it's always a little off, and that's what it's supposed to be. So there's half right there, and there's half right there. That's our true perspective center. Okay, keep that in mind. Whoops, pull out of the camera, bring it up so you can see that. So I just brought that up 90 degrees here on over, so we could get a good visual read on that. And then we'll bring it over down at 45, and this time I guess it should bring it all the way down. So it's going to touch there. It's important. All the way through our true perspective centers, push back, and then it's going to touch down here a little bit. So right there is where it's going to touch, and also right there it's going to touch. So that's important. So let's put a dot there, and I'll put an arrow so you can see it there and there. Knowing where they touch is important, especially if you're new at this, running through there. Okay, now we're going to find our halves and our quarter, right? So from here, or from our perspective centers, right through each one, there, okay, and there, and back over to our perspective center, which is right there. Okay, right there to there. And then we're going to bring it to our perspective center, right to there, to there. There we go. And then back over to our perspective center, where it's right there. Only the arrows were showing us where we touch, right? Now we want to get those halves. So let's get a half a good visual read on it, not in perspective, but true half, about right there. Okay, that's where I'm guessing at. Right in through there, and then we'll go back to the VP. So let's come in a little bit closer, and I'll bring it down so you can see this. Make sure we're getting a good, comfortable read on all of this, so you can see it nice and clearly. And then I'll just take this. Now it's good if you want to find this without as much fuss. You can line up your edge to the vanishing point about right there. That looks a little low to me, but that's okay. It's supposedly where it's at. And then we can bring up our 45 for the other two here, right along that dot to where it touches over here. That's why pencil thicknesses matter, so you have to be careful to keep this pencil sharp. And then from there, but that's also why I like to say, okay, I don't want to be so rigidly married to it. I can be off a little bit and then correct visually. And then right in through there. That's where I see it. So those are our touching points there. Those 4 halves where we put dots, and then of course where our arrows are at. Okay, so now we're on our way. Let me sharpen up my pencil. We'll take a deep breath, and we'll go for another one, right? Okay. Here we go. Sharpened and ready. Hold your breath. You know, sometimes I do hold my breath. Actually, when I'm drawing, I'm making a really intricate mark and I need to be really steady, I will hold my breath. I don't turn blue and pass out, not lately, but I will hold my breath. That's kind of sounds odd. So let's start from our red point here. It's a little bit off that line because I didn't want it to get in the way, but right here where it touches, I've got to come through the inside. It seems a little bit wide to me, so I'm going to go through it and I've got to touch there. So you don't have to be rigidly wed to it if you need to alter it, but you're going to find that just a little bit. Right in through there, it's going to come over and then curve right through there and then curve around. Look at that strong curve. It gets way over. Since we're in perspective more, right in through there, touches and it curves over, right in through there, okay. There we go. Now we're moving over to touch here. It's our next step. We want to touch there, okay. Coming on through, down the pike here, touching, boom, bingo. That looks pretty good so far. It's a little flat here. So I'm going to take my trusty kneaded eraser, and I'll tear it down into like little piece-shaped sizes so I can get it through there. Just to kind of clean it up, lighten it up. You can still see the residue of the other lines. That's okay. They'll fade when you draw through. And there we go. Coming on through there and over and around. Well, now we're coming over. We want to come through here. The inside part mostly to touch there, so we got to come a long curve, keep it pretty flat, and through here, so I'm getting a little bit more length coming through the inside mainly. There we go. And through here, coming on down, and curving on through. There we go. That's a pretty long elliptical curve. Coming on through them, a little flats. Right in through. When I mean a little flat, I mean it stays too long. Not curved enough, just barely. I could start to push it over a little bit. It's hard to get that over, and then it could curve a little bit more. Right in through here. There we go. Okay, hopefully my head's out of the way. I can't tell until I see it. Right through there, and then we're curving over, okay? Yep, and then we're supposed to come through this point inside and then back up to there. So now we're going to stay here. Come on through to there. Keep on curving around, keep on curving. Keep on keeping on to the red. To the red point, not the perspective center, but our true center. That's very important to understand these differences. That's what makes ellipses kind of strange. There we go. That's not bad. That seems to be tilted over sitting over on our plane pretty well. Remember where we started from was just a simple circle and a square. This is a circle in a square in perspective, and you can keep on refining these. The more you do, the more you'll get better at it. So let's take this now and let's find our minor axis, major and minor axis. Let's reconnect with those. So remember, the minor axis is our true center, measured because we've already got it over here, right? We've already got that. So let's come through now and darken it in. Label that even further. Here we go. So that's the minor, M-I-N for minor. Now that's major. Hello. See how it's easy to make mistakes? I make them too. So if you're making mistakes, don't you worry about it. You just keep on making your mistakes, because I make them every single day. I get emails from students, and how do I grow? How do I get past plateaus? And push yourself to make more mistakes and grow from them. If you're in plateaus, you might be getting settled and comfortable in something that's kind of mediocre, okay, and you keep on doing it because you're having some success, right? Okay. Tying my shoe. And the way to get out of that sometimes is to make yourself uncomfortable and do things you haven't done before. So major axis. So the point of that is to make mistakes. Don't worry about it. All right, so our minor axis is at 90. Here's the center point through the perspective center through the major axis right there. Okay. 90 degrees from that. So we'll line up our 90-degree tool right along there. Okay, and I'll come out with it right through there, and then I'll end it on the other side so we get that nice and clean and clear. There we go. There's our minor axis. Remember, it acts like an axle to a wheel, or the tubed part that connects one wheel to another. So that's major down here, and that's minor axis there. Let me make this major stand out better. Major, major, and of course the minor axis, and of course they're at also 90 degrees right from one another. That's very important. So there we go. There's another two ellipses, a little bit different views. One's pushed up higher. Let me come out so you can see it. So one's pushed up higher, one's pushed up a little, or pushed down a little bit lower. They're both in the sky plane and ground plane, but they look a little different. But their conception of one another is how we conceive and draw them is the same. Now let's go back in and let's do some freehand at tilts. I'll show you how you can do that. So if you're concerned about getting the tilt first, you can do that, or not, but I'll show you how to do that. So we could start out with a very simple, another 45-degree, like a major axis line right over here. There we go. So there's our major axis line, and then I can start to say, okay, let's freehand sketch. It's so much easier, my goodness. So I'm getting my half of my ellipse in through here, and I want the other half to look the same, right? So here I am trying to figure out my widths. Keep my widths about me, my widths, and there we go. Look at that. We've got a pretty good ellipse already. Nice. See how much easier it is to draw it freehand? You can do that. It's harder, and you're not going to do that often, but you want to know the secrets behind the way this works in perspective. So there's my major axis to it right there. Okay, there's the major, and then the minor is center of that, so we can help ourselves out and say, how do I find that a little bit easier? So right in through there, here's the edge. Right in through here, here's the other edge. Okay, right in through there, and then you can take 45 on the other side, which makes 90. I should have done that to the other ones, but that's okay. Run it through there and to there, and then kind of guesstimate that half right in through there. So, or you could even measure it if you want to be totally anal about it, which is fine. That is about 5 6/16, so 2.5 plus a little bit extra. Right in through there. There's where the minor axis would be. And to come on through, right in through there. So major and minor. And look how much easier that was. But I can't do this really without understanding that, how it comes from. And I don't want let you to get away with it, because ellipses really aren't that hard when you start to put them together a little bit and you draw them freehand. Let's do another one. Let me do a freehand one over here. and do a different angle than 45. So if this is 45 here, let's get this lower then. I don't even know what it is, and I don't want to know what it is, so let's put it out maybe about right in through here. So there's my major axis, and then let's draw an ellipse out through here. Okay, so there's my length coming through, and then we want to make that other side look like it too. Right through there. There we go, best you can. All right, so we got that, and let's find that minor axis. So 90 degrees, I'll just find whatever that angle was, about 90 degrees there along the edge, line that up. I'll put a line there and I'll just recreate it at the back of it. You don't even have to do this later on. That looks like a good ellipse, and you're good. You'll know when it looks bad because it'll look kind of crummy. But we'll just prove ourselves right in through. When you do a lot of sketchy lines, you're going to have to pick a definitive end there. Right in through there. Okay, and now let's take this angle, recreate it here, bring it down to the edge. That should be the same length, generally, right in through there. Okay, and then center of that looks pretty good at right there. I'm not even going to measure it. Looks pretty good, and then we'll bring this same angle that we had here, just bring it over, kind of look between both of them to make sure you've got the right angle there, and then there's, bingo. There's our minor axis, because remember that acts like the axle of a wheel. So we're at minor axis here, we're at major right axis over there, and again they react together at 90 degrees, and there you go. Practice a lot. Do technical ones for a while, do freehand ones for a while, then go and get away from them for a while, but you're going to see them everywhere. Ellipses are everywhere. Go back to the basics video where ellipses are everywhere. You see them in hands, fingers, figures, cups, bowls, parts of spheres, egg forms. Boy, oh boy, they're everywhere. And the more you do, the better they really get. And you just want to keep going. And remember that you want to create each part of the pie equal. So every person you want to treat equally. Half, half, and half, right? Half, half, half. So everybody gets a good old piece of mom's, grandma's apple pie or strudel, wherever you're from in the world. If you don't eat sweets, some kind of treat, pizza, if you're Italian, oh, it's good stuff. Italian pizza pie, whatever it is, make sure they get equal amounts. Okay, let's go on now to 2-point ellipses, and let's have some fun there.